Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Burton. I am here today to tell you a little bit about Snazzy Science on March 31st. You all received your NTI packets yesterday, so I'm just now getting around to talking about the science activities that they have planned for you for the bean activity that you all have to do where you're planting a bean. I think that's incredible that you all are getting to be little gardeners at home and tracking the progress of your bean plant. I will also be participating in that with you, so I'm excited to see how we become gardeners together. That will be very fun. Today I'm just going to review parts of a bean with you, read a story, and then I will go over how to plant your seed. If you have yet to do that, if you're like me, you're a tad bit behind, and that's okay. This is a very uncertain time, and I think we're all feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and that's perfectly okay. What I'll first do is review parts of the bean, which I already said, and I made this fun little craft to help us with this today. You all are more than welcome to make this at home. I encourage you to. This is very beneficial for you, and it's something fun. It's an easy 20-minute activity that you can do at home. But first, we'll go over the vocabulary, which is covered in this bean activity that I made for you all. The first word, seed coat, which is this brown outer layer right here, which I have labeled as seed coat. And the seed coat protects your seed. Your embryo, which is this orange part right here, which I have labeled as well. The embryo holds the earliest form of the plant's roots, leaves, and stem. So in here is where the stem, the leaves, and the roots live as they are within the seed. The leaves, they provide nutrients to the seed. So here they are right here, as well as I've labeled them. And then your food storage, which is this yellow part right here, is your food storage. It holds the food for the seed. And what you all are going to be seeing as you plant your seed will be the process of germination, which is the process by which an organism grows from a seed. So we'll be able to see the germination process as we become gardeners together. So that's just a fun little activity that I thought you and your parents or your grandparents or your guardians may be able to do together. I thought it was fun. It made the time pass by a little bit quicker. It took me about 20-30 minutes to do that. I don't have exact measurements on how you need to build this structure, but that's part of the fun process of it and makes the time go by a little bit quicker. Was kind of just guesstimating on how I needed to make this bean look. So you can use any type of colors. I have here, I'll move that just a little bit. I have written down here for the bean activity what you will need. What you'll need is construction paper, 4 different colors. They can be any color. It does not have to be these colors at all. I just chose to do it this way. Or you can use white paper or lined paper. You can do that as an option as well. For white or lined paper, I thought that you guys could color that paper in for the color purposes or whatever color you may wish instead of it being white. Another item that you will need is markers, crowns, pens, or a pencil. A pencil could be used for tracing this out as you are cutting it. Pens, if you have different colored pens, you could color in your paper that way, or even write the little labels and draw the arrows. I thought that would be fun for you all. Crowns to color in your paper. I added some designs on my leaves by using a green marker. So that's what I did. You can use glue or you can use tape. I mean, truly you could even use a stapler if you wanted to just stick that on there. But that's up to you if you want to do that or not. And then you'll need scissors to cut all of this out. And it's pretty simple. You get your seed coat, you cut that, and then you're going to put your food storage on top of that by gluing it, taping it, stapling it, whatever you may choose. Then your embryo goes on top. And your leaves, I just tuck them underneath the embryo. Super easy, super fun. I think you all would enjoy that, and it's a good visual to help you remember the parts of the bean. Alright, move this back up. So we've covered vocabulary, we've covered the bean activity, just something that you can do, just a suggestion. It's not required out of you all. Next, I have decided that I would read you this sweet little story. You all may have read it, may have not. I thought that it would be kind of fun to read a story to you. It's called We Are the Gardener'S. It's written by Joanna Gaines and her kids. So I think it's super sweet and illustrated by Juliana Swaney. I may have mispronounced that, but that's okay. So it's a really sweet book. Your parents may be a fan of Fixer Upper, which airs on HGTV. I'm a big fan. I think that they're nice people. I even went to Waco and seen the silos which they run. And this is just a sweet story that she wrote with her children about their life on their farm. So I'm going to read that to you guys. They did a dedication page. It's dedicated to our dad. You have taught us that we can do hard things and to never give up, even when we fail. That's pretty powerful. That's how I feel about my dad. We are the Gardener'S. That's a pretty official title, but we didn't start out this way. Just like our garden, we started small and grew from there. Some say that a garden just grows from seeds, but we think it grows from trying and failing and trying again. A garden is hard work, but so is most of the good, important stuff in life. And it's a picture of the kids. Okay. Our family's garden story began with one small potted fern. Dad stumbled upon it at the hardware store when he ran in for some supplies. He said it was just too cute to leave behind, and he thought it would make Mom smile. And it did. We chose a sunny windowsill for that pretty little fern. It seemed like a good, safe spot for him to grow. This was back when we were little kids, but we still remember visiting the plant each day to give him a drink, and sometimes we'd even whisper to him a bit. There's the potted fern, and the kids waiting to give it a drink. And then, plot twist. Out of nowhere, our fern died. Death by overhydration. That's just a fancy way of saying we gave him way too much water. Looking back, each one of us must have watered him every day. That's a lot of drinks for a little plant. By mistake, we love that plant to death. Some people tell themselves they are no good at something after one small failure, but no chance were we going to give up that easily. So we checked out some books from the library, and we found out that ferns can be tricky and prefer to live in a shady spot. Apparently, a plant's leaves can communicate to us what they're needing. We also learned that most plants have good manners and like to sip, not gulp. Lesson learned. That's an important lesson for you all as you are becoming gardeners with your bean seed. Making sure not to overwater. Dad got us a fresh fern, and with it came fresh hope. This time, we set the pot on our piano, way on the other side of the room, where the sun wouldn't give him so much attention. We made a watering schedule and took turns saying a lot of nice things to our little sprout of a plant. And fern number 2 lived and thrived and grew. And finally, Mom got him a little potted friend. And then another, and then 1 or 2 more. We noticed that talking to our plants actually helped them grow bigger and stronger. So we added some songs and jokes into the mix. Unlike when we overwatered, 0 plants died from us talking too much. Pretty soon, plants were taking over the house, and Dad said it was time to graduate to outdoor gardening. Mom was as excited about the new outdoor garden as we were, and she started talking about it with a dreamy look in her eyes. That's when Dad called a family meeting so we could come up with a real plan. There we go. We all gathered around the kitchen table and got to work dreaming, planning, and drawing things out. We knew we needed a sunny spot, a place where the plants could sunbathe for at least 6 hours a day. We'd be red as radishes if we did that, but plants just love it. And more than that, they need it. In the garden, there is no life without light. I've written down here in their notes, they need full sun, good soil, and water. And then I like how they've labeled where each plant was going to go. And even their chickens and where their garden shed and watering hole will be at. And where they hope that the sun will project to all of the plants. You all may want to do that too as you're planting your seed in your cup, deciding where you want it to stay for the sun to hit it. Dad always says the foundation is the most important thing when it comes to building a house. A house can't be strong if it's built on something weak, and the same holds true in the garden. So to make the foundation of our garden strong, we filled it with something called soil. Good soil, which includes a bunch of tiny living things called organisms, can grow things in it. That's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. A whole hidden world of life is happening beneath our feet. Just because you can't see the good things with your eyes doesn't mean they're not there. And another cool thing about soil is that it feeds and strengthens the seeds we sow. And then, like a miracle, plants and flowers burst out of the ground. All the different plants. You all were in charge of getting your own soil from your backyard. That's what I went and did too. We also knew we needed our garden to get plenty of water. Rain is the very best thing for plants to drink, but it's hard to know when and if rain is coming. So a couple other options to keep plants hydrated are to collect rainwater or use a sprinkler or garden hose to get the job done. For your little bean, you can probably just take it to the sink and give it water. Once we had a location with plenty of sun, good soil, and a watering plan, we got right to work. First things first, seeds. The most fun part of planning out our garden was deciding what to plant. We started with the foods we like to eat, like strawberries and tomatoes. Those are my little cousin's favorites, and that's in his garden at home too. And then we chose some pretty flowers to keep them company. The thing about seeds is that they're everyday miracles. Everything a plant will grow up to be is already hidden inside the seed. We chose flowers like zinnias, sunflowers, and cosmos so that pollinators would visit our garden. Butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees spread pollen around from flower to flower, encouraging even more things to bloom. We like knowing that little helpers are out there in nature working with us to help this garden grow. They have beautiful illustrations throughout this book. The bees must have put the word out that we had a pretty good thing going, because sure enough, all sorts of other critters started to arrive. We quickly found out that there were 3 types of bugs in our backyard. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the worst part. It was a pretty sad day when the aphids arrived. They are some of the more well-known villains in the gardening world. They suck the life right out of plants. But then the ladybugs showed up to eat those pesky aphids for lunch. Ladybug are for sure part of the hero camp, bravely protecting our plant friends from harm. And we've got to tell you about earthworms. They're like the secret agents of the garden. Earthworms eat all of the dead things, like old roots and leaves, and turn them into life for the soil. Every time we found one, we would all high-five and celebrate. They aren't pretty, but who cares? They're awesome, and we love seeing them hard at work. When I was getting my dirt, I seen several earthworms. They are definitely not pretty, but they are very helpful. We realized pretty quickly that we needed to keep the weeds out. They are the true bullies of the garden. Weeds try to steal water, sunlight, and nutrients from our fruits and veggies, and it's our job to make sure those little rascals don't take over. If we ignore the garden for too long, the weeds run wild and hurt our beloved plants. It's so much easier to do just a little bit every day. We were officially gardeners and had a real-life garden to prove it. Goodness, so sorry. That garden became our pride and joy. Day in and day out, we tended to our plants, making sure they got plenty of sun and water. Every time a new plant sprouted up from the ground, our excitement grew right along with it. As time passed, our garden grew bigger, and so did our family. When our garden was finally in full bloom and growing tall, we'd run through the aisles and watch the butterflies flutter around us. Now they have a little baby brother. How sweet. But one day, as we were mid-skip, we noticed some trespassers helping themselves to lunch. And by lunch, we mean half of the garden. Animals may look cute and innocent, but some have a sneaky side. They can wipe out a garden in no time flat. The chickens ate the vegetables. The goats ate Mom's roses. And the bunnies weren't picky at all. They ate anything in sight. Saying goodbye to that many happy plants was even harder than throwing away our very first dead fern. We debated if we should just give up. Was it really worth it to start all over again? Then we remembered one very important detail. We are the gardeners. It was our responsibility not only to grow this garden, but also to protect it. So we put up a little fence to keep the animals out and got to work rebuilding our garden. Oh, you need to see the picture. That's important. We've had this happen at our garden as well. It's mainly been deer getting into our garden. We also put up a little fence. It didn't take long to get our plants and flowers growing tall again. To this day, our very favorite days are when we get to gather the fruits of our labor. Mom loves to set the table with pretty flowers in every color you can imagine. We help her dream up recipes for the food we've grown. Sometimes when we see all of that beauty laid out, we can't believe our hands helped bring it to life, and it makes all the hard work worth it. It's what keeps us coming back, day after day, season after season. We still keep a little fern on the piano to remind us of our small beginnings. Every time we water it, we're reminded not to give up when things don't work out the first time. Because the thing is, whether one potted fern dies or half of the garden is wiped out by little critters, every failure or setback teaches us something. Dad says that every hard thing we choose to do makes us braver for the next time. There are so many lessons waiting to be learned and a whole world of gardening ready to bloom. We are the gardeners, and you can be too. And that is the end. I just thought that that was a sweet little book to read to you all, to inspire you to really get invested into your bean plant that you are doing for school, and to also give you some helpful tips as you are learning how to become a gardener and using your plant diary as well. So one of the tips that we gathered from this book was to be sure not to overwater your plant. You don't want it to overhydrate. To also put your plant in a place where it can receive sunlight, but not too much, because you don't want to roast it. So you want it to sit in a place where it can still receive sun, but not too much. And the last good tip that I remember is making sure that you have good soil or dirt. Dirt from your backyard is plenty enough. I think that the bean plant will survive and live and thrive just like the garden in the story. I think that you all are going to do wonderful with this. I am also planting my bean along with you all, so that will be exciting. And I'm going to show you how you can plant your seed into your cup. And I have your NTI packet right here ready. I have filled out the first page myself. I'm going to go back and add some notes to it as I continue, because I have yet to plant my seed, but I wanted to do that with you all. I'm by no means an expert, but I'm going to try my very best to. So the very first thing that I did was I got some dirt, and I filled my dirt almost all the way up to my cup. What I'm going to do is allow for my ruler to be my shovel as I'm doing this. I had a seed. Oh, stand up and get that. Sorry about that. So my ruler is going to be my shovel. I want to put my seed in about 1/2 inch. And you all have learned about rulers. We went over that right before we left school. And I want it to be about 1/2 inch. There's my 1/2 inch mark. So I'm going to look in here. And that is about 1/2 inch. So I'm going to dig. And just make me a little hole. You can't really see that because it's dirt and it's dark, but that's okay. I'm going to put my seed and plop it right in there. And then I'm going to cover my seed back up with dirt. Alright, and it's covered and ready to go. So I put that in about 1/2 inch so that when the seed starts sprouting its leaves and starts growing, it will be able to easily come up and I'll be able to see it because I used a see-through cup. And you also are in charge of watering your bean plant. So I'm putting about 1 tablespoon. I already have my water in here before I show you. I'm just going to put that all around to help my seed start to grow. And I used about 1 tablespoon of water. And I'll continue to track my progress with that as this continues. And for your plant diary that you all are having to fill out, you have to record every other day your observations. So I just planned mine today, so I'll wait, and it won't be Wednesday, but it'll be Thursday when I do it again. And I will track if I see any different things that's happening with my plant. That'll just be the second day, so I'm not expecting too much to be seen. But I think that's just about it that I needed to cover with you all. I hope that this helps. And if you have already if you've already planted your seed, way to go. You are on the right track. You are doing amazing. I hope that you all will take the time to do parts of the bean activity, the little craft that I made up for you all. I hope that you all do it, and if you do, send it in so that I can see all of your hard work through Dojo or through Remind, whichever, and it's not required at all. You do not have to do that if you do not want to. It's just an option. I do hope that you all are staying safe and continuing to work on your NTI packets, but also taking a chance just to play and enjoy the weather that we've been having. Clearly not today, or at least where I'm at. It's very rainy, it's cold, don't really want to be outside right now. But if it's warm and sunny the rest of the week, I hope that you go out and enjoy it, and possibly look for some things that you may see in a garden. Look for some good dirt, a place where you may put a garden at if you choose to do so, or dig for some earthworms. Find those secret agents. Look for a ladybug. They are heroes in the garden, as our book tells us. I hope that you all enjoy this time that you have off, but try to stay safe, stay home, stay healthy, and wash your hands, okay? I miss you all, and I know that Miss Tiger's missing you. I will try to post some other videos for you all to see, and try to just keep us engaged with one another. I'm learning how to do all of this along with you all. I'm sorry if I come off nervous. I don't mean to, and I hope that I continue to improve as this journey continues. So, but I miss you all, and I hope that you are staying safe. Bye!